Today in this video, I want to take you through a business mindset shift, which is to change your mind about how you approach AI automations as a business model as a whole, because 99% of people have it completely backwards. And if you've ever come into my community or someone else's and you've ever asked the question, hey, what are the top 5 best automations that I can sell? Or can you help me come up with an offer? Or can you show me what bundle I should create? Or what should I offer this business? You are completely wrong and you have this business model backwards. If you come to me for help asking me to come craft your offer, then I know that you're not going to be successful in this business model. And in this video, I'm going to explain exactly why and how you should be thinking about this. And real quick, if you don't know who I am, my name is Hamza Beg. I go by Hamza Automates. And the reason why I can speak on this topic is I run a 7-figure award-winning AI automation agency. You can see all of my awards here. I've worked with various different celebrities and a lot of big businesses, so I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. And just to be clear to you, I assume that my audience on YouTube is of very high quality, so I keep my videos all very raw, me talking to the camera, rather than having highly edited, highly animated, dopamine-inducing videos, because I assume that you guys can keep your attention throughout this video. Now let's start off with what you're not supposed to do. 99% of people go to businesses with a prepackaged product off the shelf, like a pharmacy selling a product, and just offer that. Now the mistake that they make is that they assume that the customer already knows what their problem is and exactly what the solution is. They're more focused on pushing shiny features and outcomes rather than actually solving and understanding what the customer needs, what their pain points are. And what's the result of that? And why can't you close any deals? Because now you sound like everyone else. You start competing on price, and to them you look like any other vendor who's pushing a product. So now let's jump into the right approach. Let's flip the script into what I like to call the doctor's mindset, where instead of pushing a product, we're actually doing a consultation. Now I want you to imagine going into a doctor's office and running through this scenario, but what does a doctor do when you first approach them? They do a consultation. They start by listening. They ask you about your symptoms. They go through your different criterias and their questions to understand what are you dealing with. Then, using their expertise, they do a diagnosis. They look at the root cause and they use that to understand, okay, what is really happening behind the curtains? And only then do they move on to the prescription phase, where now that they understand what the root cause is, they prescribe the right solution to alleviate that pain. And the best doctors know exactly what's going on with the business, so they can prescribe the right solution, so the outcome is that the problem is solved. And you're doing the exact same thing with AI automation. You're going into a business and you're doing a consultation to understand what are their current operations, what are their inefficiencies, bottlenecks, and what's stopping them from getting to the next level. And then using that information, you can now come up with a prescription, a tailor-made custom solution that actually solves their problem and gets them the outcome that they want. That's what they're willing to pay for. They're willing to pay the person who can solve their priority number 1, 2, and 3, things that are keeping them up at night, whether that's going to generate them more money or get them their time back. Either of those, they're going to be willing to pay a lot of money for. So why does this approach work way better? Number one is that it builds trust. When you approach the conversation like a doctor, they feel understood. They feel like you actually care about them and you want to solve their problems. They'll see you more like a trusted advisor or a partner rather than a salesperson. Number two, it justifies asking for a premium price. You're not just selling something random off the shelf, but if they're paying for a specific outcome that's solving something personal to them, then naturally they're going to be paying a lot more. It now becomes a necessity, not a luxury. So when things are necessities, then they're willing to pay a premium to get that solved. And number three, it creates long-term relationships. If you can solve one problem for them, then best believe they're going to be coming back with more and more problems saying, hey, you fixed this for me, fantastic, I'm doing well now. I've got 10 other problems. Can we do more projects together? Can you provide me with more services? And that happens naturally. If we had a good doctor that fixed our back pain, we're going to come back to him with other problems and say, hey, fix me completely. Now, I don't want to completely knock singular product-based agencies because it does work, but the issue is that if you're selling one prepackaged automation off the shelf, then you've lost all of your competitive edge. You're like every other vendor on the market, which means that it's far more competitive. You have to compete on price because unless you have an army of testimonials and case studies, you're just like everyone else. I could decide tomorrow to be a missed call text back agency where that's the only service that I offer. But what's special about that? You don't think anyone else can do that? If you're building custom automations, then who are you really competing with? You're building something that they haven't seen before that was made specifically for them. And if you're working on these bundles and prepackages, then it's a pure volume game because you're not going to be able to command high ticket prices for it. So you just have to keep selling as much as you can, which again in itself is a nightmare to do. So key takeaways from this video for you is start positioning yourself more like a doctor and less like a pharmacist. Stop pitching and start asking, because if you ask the right questions and you uncover the right pain points and you do press on that pain effectively, they're going to be begging you for a solution. but they're only going to beg you for a solution if they trust you. So part 2 of that is work on your credibility and trust. Inside that conversation, the reason why we trust doctors is because they have that expertise. They've gone to medical school, they know what they're talking about, they educate us on things that we don't even know about ourselves. So if you can go to a business and completely blow their mind about your automation knowledge and your AI applications, and if you speak in a way that really impresses them, then they're going to trust you and they want to keep coming back to you and learning from you, and eventually they're going to buy from you, right? And finally, invest some time into practicing creating custom proposals for businesses. Don't just don't just give them generic automations and just hope that they want to buy them. Really work on coming up with something so tailored and specific that it just blows their mind that you are their go-to person to solve any problem that they have. That's what I want for you, and that's how you're going to be successful in this business model, and I hope that makes sense to you. Now, if you want to continue learning more about how to be more of a consultant like a doctor, then you can follow my discovery methodology. I have an entire school community which is 100% free. You can go to school.com/automate. The link will be in the description. But you get access to all of my sales trainings, my methodologies, my mindset stuff. So you have access to all of that, and you can learn how to be a proper automation operator. So we have just over 20,000 students in there. We're one of the biggest automation communities there. And you can also message me one-on-one. We can discuss. I can teach you anything or answer any questions that you have. So I'm looking forward to meeting you. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you in the next one.